Hi everybody, it's Anne from Annalise Creates, Annalise Creations. I hope you're doing okay today. Excuse me, I've got allergies. It's that time of year here. I'm going to do an odd girl a la Kelly Dononvan from Knittingandthings. You can I'll post the link to her videos down below, but she put out a how-to video on her odd girls, and I thought I would do something. She likes to have people share their work of what they've done with her odd girls, or come up with things that are similar to her odd girls. So she started out with doing a grunge background, and I thought, what perfect way to use my drop papers. They are grungy. See? Very grungy. So I'm going to use some gel medium, and I'm going to glue it down to this piece of watercolor paper, Canson. I think it's 140-pound hot pressed watercolor paper. So I'm going to glue this down here, okay, and then I'm going to pause my camera and come back with with another piece of watercolor paper. And I'm planning on doing, I don't want to paint directly on here. I've decided that I'm going to take another piece of watercolor paper and then do my odd girl on that, and then put her paster to here. Now my colors on here look funky, so I'm going to pause and come back and change the settings here because they're doing weird things. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I needed to change the coloring. See, my hands before looked kind of red. It was weird. Okay, so I'm going to take my gel medium. It's the Blick brand gel medium. And I buy the big containers because I use a lot. Guys, I'm back. Okay, so I'm going to take the gel medium that I have here, and I always buy it in a bigger size, and I don't buy the real expensive ones because to me it's more economical to stick to the Blick brand for gel medium since I use it so much for things, and I also use it for I use matte medium a lot also, so I tend to buy it in the biggest size I can get, so it lasts me longer, and it generally is a little less expensive per ounce if you get it in the bigger sizes. And sometimes I have to order my stuff online from Blick unless I want to drive all the way to Berkeley, California. That's where the closest Blick store is for me, or San Francisco. So yeah, so I'm just spreading this all around, and it's going to get sticky here. So I'm getting enough down so that it's going to stick. And also the idea, so that you have less buckling on your papers, is to add a layer on the back of what you're going to stick on to whatever paper or backing that you're going to stick it onto, because it somehow creates less bubbles that way. So when you go to smooth it out, it lays down smoother without all the buckling. Now this piece of paper was already a little buckled because it's my drop paper that I use over my craft mat when I'm doing art on my art table. If you notice, my angles are different today as they were on my index card of the week, because I'm working off of my computer desk right now, because I noticed that my camera works better off of my screen on my computer. So see how I'm doing this? I'm just spreading it on and pushing it down a little, And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to rub it on like this, so I get it down as flat as I can. Make sure that the layer underneath is getting spread out evenly. Let's just hope I don't get extra on my keyboard. I have a drawer underneath my computer desk where my keyboard is. Okay, so I've turned it upside down because I'm going to have to cut that piece off after it dries. So I'm going to consider this part 1 of creating the grungy background. And then I will be back in a little while. Hi everybody, it's Anne from Annalise Creates, Annalise Creations. So I'm back. Okay, so we're doing, I'm doing my version of an odd girl, a la Kelly Dononvan of Knittings and Things. I'll post the link for her YouTube channel down at the bottom, but I just want to show you some of my tips and tricks of what I do when I'm too lazy and I don't want to redraw something. I will trace it. Now, the way I do it is you could take tracing paper and put a piece of, I'm going to show you, hang on a second, it would help if I was prepared, wouldn't it? Okay, so they sell packets of graphite paper like at Michael's and Hobby Lobby, okay, and they sell them in sheets. Mine I have kind of seen better days. As you can see, I had traced one of my drawings earlier. You can see the white part. Anyways, you use one of these thingy-my-what's-its. I don't remember how to call this, but I'm just going to call it a thingy-my-what's-it, okay? So you can use that and take a piece of tracing paper and basically put this and then the tracing paper on top of what you're going to do. So say for like, you're going to do this, you're going to put the piece of graphite, piece of tracing paper, well actually you're going to put this, then the piece of tracing paper, and then you're going to use this to make the marks that will go on to the graphite paper, and then it'll transfer it onto your paper. But I don't do that. Occasionally I will if I'm sitting somewhere else other than what I'm going to show you. I have a light table here, and it's really good too to provide extra lighting if you have trouble seeing things, and it lights up like this. I got it on an online art store. I don't remember how much I paid for it. They're not cheap, let's put it that way. So it's something that you might want to get and put on your someday list. Okay, so what I do is I place this down, and then I get some painter's tape so that it doesn't move around. Sorry about that, walking away again, because of course I'm never prepared properly. And what am I going to say? I'm going to stop the video here for a second because I need to adjust the lighting. Be right back. I'm going to fiddle. I'm back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fiddle with this light and see if that helps. Okay, yeah, it does help a little bit to turn off the light that I had on. Okay, so because it's kind of, it looks, yeah, it's hard to really see what I'm doing, but so what you do is you place the piece of paper on top, just like that. See how I've got it on top like this? And can you see through? Yeah, you can see through. All right, so then I take some more painter's tape, and I put this one down like this, and then I get a pencil. If I can find a pencil. You would think I'd be prepared, but oh, of course not, right? Okay, so then I just start tracing my lines. And I can always change the details later by erasing them, but right now I'm too lazy to redraw this. So I'm tracing out, and I can improve my lines after I've traced it. So let me see if you can see that. Yeah, you can sort of see it. And I'll give you a close-up in a minute. when I'm done tracing this. So this is the tip that I use when I've drawn something, and sometimes I'm already happy with it, but because what I do is I often will draw my subjects or whatever I'm going to draw onto a cheaper piece of paper, like a really thin piece of drawing paper, and I'm not going to use that in my art or my art journaling. I like to use better supplies or items, but if you can't afford something and supplies, then that'll do, just some simple drawing paper. But I'm using actually watercolor paper, like I said earlier in my video. This is a watercolor paper by Canson, and I think it's 140-pound weight. And I think it was a 8-11 by something, and I cut it down to 9 by 12. Well, not 11. It's got to be 14 by something by 14. Sorry, inches. Okay, so I'm going to finish her face. I'm not going to draw her hair in yet because I may change her hair. But I'm going to add the other details that I added with her. Okay. I forgot her hands. And then I'm going to add her eyes. So this is a trick when you just don't feel like redrawing it. And yeah, you could redraw it if you want to, more gives you more practice. I'm not going to do her eyelashes yet on this one. I have her eyelashes drawn on this one, but I'm not going to add them. And because it's an odd girl, you don't have to have, like in Kelly's video, she said you do not have to have the eyes being the same size or even the same look, because she's an odd girl. I like that because I'm kind of odd. I'm kind of different. At least that's what my family would say. Yeah, only my kids, right? Okay, so, and I didn't do the bottom of her dress here because I am going to cut her out. I'm going to cut her out after I paint her because I'm going to glue her down onto my grunge paper background. So for now, I'm going to pause for a second and I'll be right back with a close-up. Okay, I'm back. So here is the close-up. And I'm sorry, I'm having issue. The camera does not like the light table. It's giving me lines. Okay? So I'm just showing you what you could do. See, and you still see her hair because that's on the original piece that I just traced. Okay? So I'm going to pause and I'll be right back because I want to show you one more tip. I got an idea in my head because I thought if artists have art apps on their iPads or tablets, wouldn't there be an app for a mini light table, like something that would illuminate and keep your iPad illuminated so that you could possibly say if you're somewhere outside and you're working and you want to trace something, or you are like me that I suffer from chronic pain, and so there's days where I need to be on the couch with my feet up and I do art from there, at least simple pieces of art. So there should be an app for a light box. So I went into the app store on Apple. No affiliation with Apple. Not promoting them either. Just so happens that I have an iPad. All right. So I'm going to open the Lightbox app. It's Lightbox, Lightbox, all one word, and it opens up the app. And right now it's on the lowest brightness setting because I use my iPad at night, so I hadn't changed my settings. So I probably could change it from here. There's a setting thing. Oh yeah, it's on the brightest one. But you can change the grid to grid. You can do lines, top left ruler, top right ruler. So you could put a piece of paper the size of your iPad and place it over. And I've noticed it's got to be a thinner piece of paper, like computer paper or a thin drawing paper. But there you go. There's a cool idea. And I thought, why hadn't I thought of this before? A lot longer before when I first got my iPad. But of course, we don't. Unless we really need it, then we start thinking things. So anyway, so that's my tip share for the day, for this lesson, or my showing of my version of the odd drill. And I will be back for the next part.